My name is Jhyle, and I also go by Jhyle. And I am the Gallery and Community Coordinator for here, the Chicago Avenue Fire Arts Center. How many of you are familiar with the Fire Arts Center? Nicely done. Well, we are an arts nonprofit that focuses on art forms produced by Youth Spark Flame, so that can mean a lot of things. We teach a lot of classes in blacksmithing, welding, neon jewelry, kind of anything Youth Spark Flame related. And then this is our gallery space where I host probably like four or so exhibits here. Some groups, some solo, kind of all over the board. And this time I got to do it with Christopher Harrison. And you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, hi everybody. First I want to thank you for coming out because it's such a hot and sweaty day. You want to spend your time in a hot and sweaty foundry. but yeah, thank you for coming out. As Jill said, I'm Christopher E. Harrison. I am a public artist and a visual artist and an educator. So I got a lot of, I have my finger in a lot of jars of jelly, I guess you could say, which is actually can be quite tasty. But I'm associated with the Chicago Fire Arts Center. I think I've done about 8 public art pieces with them. And I'm also on the chair on the board. I'm on the chairman. I'm on their board. I'm a chairman on the board.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was very pleased to work with Jill and the gallery to be able to get together some works to show for the fire show here. And I think we did a pretty good job. And
then if you're an artist in this exhibit, will you say your name and then introduce yourself and maybe point out your piece?
I'm Ava, and I painted that painting, burnt out oil painting on the wall.
I'm Grover. I use they, them pronouns. This is my piece over here, The Magician.
I'm Michelle Lackey, and my piece is The Necklace that's behind Christopher.
I'm Jake, he had pronouns, and this piece is bigger. I'm Steve Ozoni, and my piece there behind Joe.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
I painted the Cybertruck, and my name is Laura.
Nice.
Okay. All right. So we're going to give a little applause for the artist.
Yeah, thank you all so much for doing this with us. I prepared some questions just to help guide us, but we can, there's no rules here. We can say whatever we want. Okay, so I think we're going to take turns so that I don't have to ask all the questions. Okay, so the exhibition is titled Fire. What does that word mean to you, and how did it inform your piece? Who wants to go first? In the hot seat.
I'll go first. So I just started even associating myself with being an artist in the last year. I took a jewelry class last fall, and the theme of that was reviving forgotten treasures, reviving forgotten memories. And so my piece contains 3 keys that belong to my great aunt, and I was able to incorporate them into the piece. And what it did for me was created a spark where I've been creating different pieces of jewelry, some small sculptures in the time since then. And so fire to me is just ignition of creativity in me that I hadn't accessed before.
I love that.
Great. Okay, anyone else?
Anybody else want
Yeah. Okay, River?
So One of the main things I was thinking about for the show, I feel really close related to like the idea of fire. Like I've watched a lot of important buildings in my life burn down. I'm a fire sign myself. I'm from Houston, where it's notoriously super hot. So it's funny because like, the moment I saw the prompt, I was like, this is so for me. But then my mind went completely blank. And I've been working on a series of like navigating through like the major arcana, the tarot like deck, and I like made it to like the second one out of all of them because the first one is the Fool, and I was born on April Fool's Day, so it was a great place to start. And the next one was the Magician, and the Magician reversed means you have all the tools that you need to get started, but you just don't have the ability to start. And that's what it feels like to be an artist oftentimes, is like, I have all these materials, I even got ideas, needing some motivation, and yet I don't know why I just don't start. And so like, I wanted to make a work about that kind of frustration that I have with like most things in my life, where like I'll have this goal and this drive to like do something differently with my like life, my path, and yet it just doesn't happen. And so it's funny because it was kind of like the reverse of the prompt, like what gets you really wanting to get fired up. Yeah.
I can relate to that a lot, actually. And I'm sure a lot of people in here can. Starting is hard.
Yeah.
That fear of failure or doubts in yourself, and maybe you don't have the skill level yet, but you don't build the skill level unless you try, right? Yeah.
And for me, I think it's kind of important to fail sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Because you learn.
You learn the most.
Right. And sometimes your failures might be successes if you look backwards. Okay.
That's true.
Okay. Anybody else?
Failure is my mantra. Because that's how you find out what works.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was, my piece is one of the pieces that doesn't have anything to do literally with fire.
Yeah.
But if you think, and I was just thinking about being fired up, this dahlia here was grown by Hmong immigrants, which fires me up to think that you came to a country you don't know anyone. You know how to, well, not everybody knows how to garden, how to farm either. It's from a farm in southern, south of Minneapolis. And to come to a place where you don't speak the language is not here for you. You don't speak the language fluently or know people, but there is a strong community there, and so that's what fires them up. And so when I think about that, that's what made me think about that. Also, that it looks like flames too.
Yeah.
Yeah, great piece, awesome piece.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Well, don't be shy, step right up. Okay.
Yeah, ceramics is fun because it is like all about fire and all the different stages that happen before the fire, during while it's being fired, afterwards. It's sort of all like a really transformation. But this particular piece is part of a series of these pieces that have these little heads on them, which originally started with a bunch of years ago, thinking about what community looks like as it ages, and thinking about how there's not as many queer elders as there should be, because people die. And so thinking about what does it, kind of like a little utopia of all of these people aging and gossiping and having fun together, and just like surviving to be older. So just having that lightness, is kind of that idea is kind of what fires me up too, is people just like being able to survive. But also it's a candle holder, so yay. Yeah, that kind of idea.
All right, great. Yeah. I enjoy how the light kind of caresses the piece, and that, all the textures there and everything. And that's Yeah, really fun stuff. Okay. All right. Next question.
Next question.
How does the idea of fire resonate with your process, literally or metaphorically? Okay. You kind of
We kind of
touched on it a little bit,
right?
a little bit.
Anybody wants to
But
go deeper?
yeah, if anybody wants to go a little deeper, you can on that. If not, we will move on to the next question.
One little thing is kind of like related. I feel like maybe not like physical fire, but like light and like electricity has like, been like a really major part of my practice. Starting with like the idea of stained glass windows and like light coming in through to like be used to like teach people, usually like lower class people or like people without literacy skills, like how to like understand the Bible. And like that was like one of like the first accessible means of like education that I like find really inspiring. Especially like moving to Minneapolis, there's so many stained glass windows everywhere. So like this like idea of light coming through an image to then like educate has been like something that's like really vital to like my process. And so like I'll like use like light boxes or like transparencies or like anything that involves like the production of light is like almost like religious in a way. Like this is like wow, like electricity is like something, yeah, a miracle.
In January, actually, there's going to be a group call that's going to be focused on like illumination. So, yeah, because it's so dark in the winter.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's jump to process and medium. Okay, so are there particular experiences or issues that continually fuel your creative work? So you have a little nitty gritty of the material aspects of your work. You know, so think about why you picked what you picked to make what you make.
Well, for me, I'm an oil painter, and it's a lot of like pushing and pulling. And when I paint, I try to kind of marry the feeling of like intuition and abstraction with the structure and form of like a photo. And so I really like the kind of freedom that oil painting gives you, where you can like manipulate it freely and keep the integrity of your photo.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, very
That makes
nice.
sense to me.
Yeah, I know there were some artists that said oil painting is like painting skin or flesh, you know, and that's kind of one of the few mediums where you can actually make your idea, make your dream, you know. So I think that's a pretty cool kind of thought.
I feel like you also have to have some patience with it. It's true. Yeah. I never have enough patience.
Great. Okay. Anybody else? Process and medium.
I look at the news every day.
Sorry to hear about that.
I can't help
That's
it.
tough.
And so the shit show that's going on inspires me to, and it's the only way I know how to do anything about it. Whether it's portraits or food, I shoot a lot of food in that style, and I think, and it's all about culture and immigration, and where would we be without immigrants? And food, and where would I be? I wouldn't be here if my grandparents hadn't immigrated here. So I want to, I do that for myself to keep reminding myself about that, but I also want to be able to remind other people about it too.
Awesome. Great. Well, thanks for giving us that gift in your work. Okay. Anybody else? Any other of the artists? Process and medium?
Yeah, I mean, I think sort of thinking along similar lines, working with ceramics is often a lot about problem solving and sort of how can you make a puzzle come together, and a lot of like caring for something as it dries, as it fires, making sure you really have to tend to it a lot of the time. And I think a lot of the world doesn't feel solvable, and I work in social services, I work in people trying to navigate problems that don't have solutions. It just has like, how can we navigate this? And so to be working with something that is just like a puzzle you can actually like succeed in, I think is like a really big driver to just like keep making things. Because like you can't deal with that, you can do this right now. And that feels good.
I think a lot of times we're doing that is also doing something, you know, like it's not for nothing.
Right. Yeah. For me, you know, it's the end game. It's also the process too. Like, I think a lot of folks can relate to that. You know, it's taking that time to kind of take something that's born up here and have it happen out there. You know, I think that's an important part. You know, of being human. You know, people have kids. You know, people build businesses. I think artists are fortunate enough to have art. You know, as their thing, and it can live on too.
Yeah. I do though also think people have there's different types of art obviously, and people are creative in not this type of art, but maybe it's spreadsheets. You know, I mean, like I'm not kidding. Like I just like you find something that you love and you're passionate about, and that's your art form.
Oh, definitely. Even if it's gardening or whatever, you know, that can be art too.
It's actually funny because for this piece, I actually went to the Historical Society to talk to their conservationists about plastics because I grew up lower class and like I didn't have a lot of access to like really good materials. Like I did a lot of like plastic-based Crayola, washable markers, Sharpies, 6-1 from school type things, and I thought like, this is kind of concerning because like plastic does degrade over time, and like we do want the art to live on past us, and like how do we like conserve materials with very little either like research on plastics or like there's very few archival materials that last like kind of past our lifetime. And like I think people that like know about materials and like the way that they like degrade or like can be preserved, like that, like the science aspect of things, like the chemical makeup of the plastics, all of that has been like a really important part to my process. And it has like told me that like, okay, not everything is conservable, but like with technology, everything is documentable. So like scanning everything like as highest quality as possible and make it accessible to like future generations is like a huge deal for me now. And like, I don't know, letting the work do what it needs to do in the physical realm and trying my very best to document it outside of the physical realm is like the goal.
Great, awesome.
Remind me after this, there's a whole plastics art community that I feel like I should throw out.
A lot of the museums are going through their whole collections and doing all kinds of technical analysis and stuff to figure out what the off-gassing is and what it might be doing to the other work and stuff. It's incredibly elaborate.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I just found out you can recycle candy wrappers.
Oh.
There's a store down the street that takes them.
Give them all my Snickers and Twix bars.
I'd love to think that they're passing those on to kids to make art out of them.
I had no idea they're actually recycling.
Wow.
Nice. Okay.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh. Lost track. Okay. How do you replenish your energy when your creative fire burns low?
I look at the news.
All right. Right to the point.
I honor where I'm at and wait for that spark to come back again. We were talking about process a minute ago. My process is I usually get flooded with a bunch of ideas all at once. and then I'm writing frantically to get all the ideas down. And if I hit a dry spell, then that's where I'm meant to be in that moment, so I just go with that until the spark comes in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else? Uh-huh.
I really like to look at old work, like from different places too, and take into consideration the like historical context that they were made in, because it can give you a lot of ideas on how you can portray your own truth with like such similar tools. So everyone goes through, everyone's people all throughout history.
Right. Yeah, art can be a shared medium, as well as just selfish artist doing my thing in my studio medium and give me money for that. It's really a communal experience, whether you go to a museum or a gallery or even public art, because the public art in particular is shared by a community, and it can also kind of be the face of the community too. I know in the public arts that I do, I always try to have like a community, outreach element if it's possible, because then that way the community can also own that piece. And that's how art kind of becomes something more of a selfish thing, but becomes more of a communal, humane thing. So I think that's that's an important aspect of public art. So
I think it too can be really cool to see how people interact with their work in unexpected ways sometimes, and how artworks, it has like a connection that draws people in, and it's interesting always to see what pieces people are connected to.
awesome. Any other artists want to chime in, or we? Okay. All right. Well, we have one more question.
Oh my God! Wait.
Yeah. Okay. Or do we?
Oh,
Oh, that's it.
we have all of this.
Oh, okay.
We don't have to do all.
Okay, we over that.
But we don't.
What do you want to throw out there to questions from the audience?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Well, does anybody have anything from the audience who want to ask the artist question? Or Jill or myself?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Ava, could you talk more about like the story behind this piece and like if this is a like mixture of different scenes or if it's like one specific story? Yeah.
I made this, I just graduated my undergrad and I made this my junior year, and it was the hardest academic year I've ever had in my life, and I was like having a hard time personally. It was just a really hard year. And so I was living with all my best friends in a pink house, and their friendship and support was the only thing that was able to get me through that. And so it was kind of like, if I was throwing up in a bathroom and our bathroom was burning down, like I think my friends would still like sit with me and hold my hair back and make sure that like it was gonna be okay for me.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Anybody else?
How'd you come up with the idea for the class? Or for the show?
Well, the thought was at the time, there was a lot of stuff going on
And continues to be stuff.
in society. So and our quote unquote leaders, they were doing a lot of I guess you could say firing people.
Great.
And unfortunately that still seems to be their mantra. But I thought that would kind of be a timely idea of firing people, releasing something. Also too, the idea of, since this is the Chicago Avenue Fire Art Center. You know, there's a connection. There's a lot of different kind of ideas to you know, expand upon there. So whether it's you know, being physically fired or metaphorically fired or conceptually fired, you know. So not all the pieces actually have, you know, fire in them, but there's something behind there that speaks to that idea of, you know, letting go or regenerating, you know, the cleansing. Because fire can be cleansing also, you know. So it sounds like really, really big, but I guess that's the artist's job, is to make something really, really big, really, really small and relevant. Okay?
Thank you.
Hey, Julie.
Sorry, I was doing the casting class right now. So, stories, how it relates. For me, my piece, Little Monster, I can show. So I've been working with early visual language from kids, especially my own. Oh, hi, I'm sorry. Norman. That's it. I have a studio at the California building, and we have open studios like November 16th, so come on out. So I've been working with visual language, early visual language of children, and how open-ended it is, and it's been a source of inspiration. What I love is how young kids express their fears in these really interesting ways. So a lot of the imagery was inspired by my daughters, and so monsters, like fears and monsters, kind of this wonderful metaphor. But then you make it and you draw it, and it's so funny, you know, at the same time. And so I love the way that an idea can represent something, but then it can be empowering, you know, that you're looking at fear and it's charming, you know. And so I find it really interesting. But on top of that, you know, my work comes from the fire as well, because it's, now I'm like transitioning to metals, but I work in ceramics, and, you know, straight out of the fire, and I found these metallic glazes that you don't even have to make. I mean, they come from Amoco, I think, and they're low fire, because low fire is just a little more environmentally friendly, and so so I feel like it's an introduction to the metal arts for me, or a step before.
Those of you who can't see it.
We'll get all these chairs all out of the way after we're done, and then you can wander around. And then we have also this evening our open house, which is so fun. And there's going to be Bud Pottery Sage is going to be doing a ragu firing. I keep wanting to say Roku.
Ragu,
Yeah,
the sauce.
ragu, yeah. I would think I was being annoying because I was spelling it different every time I was talking to her. And so that stuff all kind of starts around 6:30. I don't even know what time it is. Yeah, we should talk longer. I was hoping the timing would be perfect.
I have a question
Yeah.
for Chris and Jill.
Yeah.
Did you both agree on everything? Did you have any fights?
I don't think we had fights.
Or did you
I think we
agree on
pushed-
anything at the
I
end?
think we pushed back on some stuff with each other.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's been a while since my sling, you know, Jill. grapes, you know. but I kind of healed up a little bit. No, actually I think it went pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part, I would say we probably, you know, agreed on the things that we chose. There were some that we weren't quite sure of.
Yeah.
So, because I think it was like about 30 something.
I think it was more than that.
Was it
I want to say
34?
there was like 50.
Was there 50? Really? Wow.
I mean, I feel like we went through a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can look and see, but yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
So lucky you.
Yeah, you know, down to the precious few.
I mean, and that's also one of those things that I always am like, with the artists, don't ever take that personally, like rejections. That is just part of it. And you never know unless you throw your hat in the ring, you know? And, you know, we had fun picking pieces out that were speaking to each other, to us. And I think this is probably the most sparse of one that I've done, but that was kind of Chris's fault, I think.
Very picky.
Because I'm like, everywhere. And Chris is like, no, like a museum.
yeah, we let the works breathe.
Yeah.
Breathe, you know, so people can spend time with each one. Yeah, I think I've curated about 5 shows now in my repertoire. You know, and I think, you know, I think if people can spend time, because yeah, things can get crowded, and get really crowded.
I mean, this is a small space and a really challenging space, so I'm very used to it at this point. But it is a hard arranged room, you know. But it's fun. I like the challenge.
Oh yeah. You know what you said about how work kind of speaks to each other. That's a key thing too. You know, because they might not look the same, but there is some kind of dialogue, whether it's through the medium or through the idea or through the through the story. Because kind of like that corner back there with the standing sculpture, and then you have a Ron Brown's piece, and then you have the activity of the base. Those all speak to each other, you know. And then we have the wood here, and then we have the fire of your painting there. It's kind of like a little campfire over there, you know. So there's little things that you can take different elements from the pieces and put them together, and then they tell their own story, or the curators hope they do.
Yeah. Yeah, hope is always the difference.
I have a follow-up to that. So when you do decide, do you make your decisions before you try and put stuff together? Or are your decisions based like, that piece would be amazing with that other piece? How much of that back and forth is there?
I think for me, doing installations, which also I didn't until recently realize that that's like a totally separate thing usually. It was really Chris that was like, oh. And I was like, oh, you mean you don't just do it? I don't know, it's like so much part of it for me. Like, I need the physical pieces to feel the vibe of them together, personally. I know that there are people that do that very differently and really map it out in like a digital whatever. I actually have in my brain that I really want to make a little steel version of this room, and then every time I do it, I put on little magnets and put pieces all over the place. But
yeah, that'd be cool.
So you did pick everything then first, and then got it here and went, oh, that goes with that, and that goes with that.
And sometimes with the bigger pieces, I'll have it in my brain. But sometimes I like dimensions, which is when you filled out the application, you saw I was like bigger than a toaster, refrigerator. Like it was like I need a visual box for my brain to like do that. Like, the dimensions aren't going to mean diddly squat to me. And so like I like to have the pieces in place, and some of them end up being maybe bigger than I thought, or but I think it was good because there was those 2 big pieces that I was nervous were gonna be like I actually thought that was gonna be like where I was like, oh my God, what'd I do?
And also too, you want the pieces, to be seen and have their own kind of space.
Yeah.
And this one was a challenge.
Yeah, it was because I had it, like, he was the first arrival, which was good, but also then we had, he and my 8-year-old installed it together, which was adorable. And then, like, we hanging that was like such a piece. It was like, I don't know why I did this. Why did we? This wasn't tucked up correctly.
On tile, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of not. But grit, we made it work.
We did.
We made it work
Yeah.
for you.
Thank you.
So I mean, I feel it came out pretty successful. I think, the pieces kind of light up the space, and I think the artists, hopefully very happy, to be able to have a place in here, in the foundry, which, was a lot of metal and blacksmithing and banging of hammers and pouring of iron and metal and stuff, but it can also be very aesthetic and be open to all kinds of forms of art too.
Yeah.
It
was fun. I think it's really fun to get to throw ideas off of somebody too. So I like having a partner too.
Jill's great. Thank you, Jill.
You're great too.
This isn't the first like multimedia show you've done in this gallery, is it?
No,
I didn't think so.
When I do group calls, I sort of throw that out the window. When it's a solo show, it feels like it probably should be focused more solely on fire arts related work. Not that they can't have, because like a lot of artists dabble, like they're doing all kinds of things, so like, so I guess I'm gonna say that also is not true. So just kidding. I feel like, I like there to be some fire arts related work in it, which just sort of happens. Organically, I guess.
I think that, just a variety of medium, adds to the interest of the show. So if you are a painter, or you are, a ceramicist or something, don't be afraid of the venue, just send your stuff in and see what happens if it fits the idea.
Yep.
Because if I was the curator, I would have some So, it's fun stuff. But in jewelry, we also have jewelry too, which, and I was, really specific in trying to get something that wasn't just something on the wall.
I love including jewelry as an art form. I think that was my, I am a jewelry person. That's what I do a lot of. It is, so I always like to have some. It's not super functional jewelry, but it is jewelry wearable. So I always like that.
I'm sure it's for sale.
No.
It's not that? Okay.
No, it's too special.
Okay, so.
Just like,
There will be others for sale eventually, but that piece, because this belonged to my great aunt, that will stay with me eventually.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Okay.
What about the,
Yeah.
what's the significance of the keys?
The keys, well, I lived with my great aunt from the time I was 10 till I was 12. And so the keys themselves were in the doors of her farmhouse, just always there. And so I remember being a kid and actually seeing those. And she died about 20 years ago. And I got a little jewelry box that nobody wanted. And in the jewelry box was this cluster of keys. And so I held on to it for 20 years. And then when Amy Wilderson had her class about reviving forgotten treasures, I was like, I wasn't handing down anything, what am I gonna do? And then I remembered the set of keys and decided to figure out a way to work that into a piece.
Like it, thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that there's all this 2D art here, just because it's the last thing I would have expected, you know, in a gallery space, and something about representing, like literally representing fire, as opposed to just things that come out of a flame, is really interesting. So I kind of, hats off. I think it's really a cool thing.
Okay, yeah. All right, great. Well, it's almost 6 now.
Okay.
So-
All right, that's it.
Oh, one more.
What's the next show?
What do you want? So the
I
next,
want you.
the next exhibit is actually going to be in October, and it'll be the current residents that we have, showing the work that they've done throughout. So that'll be a fun one that is set to open October 11th. I still have to map out the time with the artists. Artists are really hard.
They do not need.
And you know that
That's
how?
fine.
Because every one of them is ADHD. Different schedule.
Have you heard of cats before?
The schedule is, I know that is what I
Yeah.
There's, and then there will be a group, oh, actually, and Brighton McCormick has like a small stint in November. And then, you want me to just tell you all? Because I have like a whole thing. Then in January, I'm working on doing a call. I haven't come up with the title yet. It's still rolling in my brain. I gotta come up with it quick. It's going to be like illumination, so neon work or work that has some sort of light aspect to it, like catching aspect to it. And I kind of like, I've wanted to do one that has some neon for a while. Winter seems to be the best time to do it because, as you can see, it is very bright in here all the time. And so like it either needs to be like, in the summer it'd be like a 9 o'clock opening, which I'm not into.
Is it gonna be neon specific?
No, I like it to be brownish.
Yeah, okay.
I'm hoping to get some more.
Yeah, it can be stained glass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
jewelry that sparkles.
Yes, true.
LED.
No, that's not lights. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Shadows. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Put an eye out in the events and opportunities portion of the gallery page. I'll put all that stuff when I have it there.
Also, yeah, you also have to put in a little commercial.
Yeah.
Yep. Obviously, KFAC is a teaching institution and a learning institution, so there's plenty of really interesting classes you can take. You can get a neon, blacksmithing, welding, liquid metal pours, and jewelry making, and
Stained glass.
Stained glass.
Rosé, which is like painting wax.
you're painting with wax.
It's amazing.
So all of you painters, you can paint in a different. And enameling.
Oh, and an jeez. That's what brought Chris to us to begin with, was enameling.
Yeah, enameling. Yeah, it's basically car paint on metal. And so if you're a painter, you can just paint on whatever you want, and then you can fire it, and then it'll be very, very durable. It can be outside. I think it's like 70 to 90 years.
Wow.
But and actually, in Europe, there are still enamel pieces that are over 500 years old.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. So it will last a very, very long time.
Enamel's pretty cool, and I think, I feel like isn't Connor Rice going to be teaching the next one? Do you remember?
Yeah, probably, yeah, him. Yeah.
He was a resident
So a lot of great classes, great teachers. Consider when you get time taking a class. Okay.